All right, you're live.
Okay. Okay, good. So I'm really excited to talk about developing a database because it's really the foundation of your business. And when I look back on our business over the years, everything would relate to the database, and you're going to see how important it is. So developing it, and then what you do with it. Okay. So the first thing I want to talk about, there's two types of business that I break it down to. You know, what you create daily and weekly. So when I meet with a new agent, Amy meets with a new agent, we start talking about, you don't really have any business. You have a database of people that might be your friends, but they probably don't even believe in you yet because they know you're brand new in real estate, right? So the only way you're going to create much business is going to be by new business, what you do that day or that week. And so some things like that would be like open houses or blind door knocking, just through, going from track to track, knocking and saying, hey, you want to sell or buy or what's going on, right? Social media ads. You can actually get Google ads and get social media on there and get stuff from that. They're all very cold leads. They're usually hard to work. I was just talking this morning with Mace and about the development of his business over the last few years, and he said he just had a really difficult transaction, but he said most of my transactions now are nowhere near as difficult as the first year. I said, I remember telling you that early on you're getting people you don't know and things like that. You're picking up an open house or blind door knocking or whatever, and it's kind of difficult at times. But as you grow in your business later, people call you and say, hey, listen, I want to sell the house you sold to me years ago and buy something else. And it's a warm lead and the referrals are warm and it's a much different business. So, but whatever you create daily and weekly. So when we start with new agents, Amy, I'll talk about how you're going to create business now. We certainly want some long-term business, which is database, and we want some long-term business, maybe a geographic farm or different thing. But what do you do daily? And most common thing we do is open houses, okay? And that's why we had an open house training a month ago, or about a month or so ago, and it was on how to create business from an open house, because if that's going to be your source of really income for a while, you need to know how to do it, just not be there. So, okay, the next one is what you generate from your database. And that is the important one, by far the most important one. And what do you think most top agents that have been in the business for a few years, where do you think they get most of their business from?
Referrals.
Yeah, their database, either referrals or the people within there that have done business with them before. They're not out there doing, the day-to-day, business that is literally all they get. It's kind of, you eat what you kill. I mean, what you can do that week is what you're gonna, have for the next week. So let me kind of give you an idea. So my database was, as we got involved in the business, I did nothing now, which was daily business, nothing. Everything came from database. In fact, Steve came on my team in 1990, and when he did, I gave him all my ads, I gave him all my sign calls, and those were really big back then. I gave him everything. All I wanted to work with were my database clients, period. And so what I was able to do over the years is create a kind of a rate of return on your database. So you start off with a database which is going to be short and weak. Okay, you got your 15 friends and 10 family members and 10 other people you went to school with or something, and that's your database, and they probably don't believe in you because you're brand new. So you start off with this database that is short and weak, and you grow it over time to be long and strong. Okay, in between, it's kind of in between, right? But that's what you do. After about 5 years in the business, I was doing consistently when Angie came in, I'd done 57 sales the first year. She came in 4 years later. But over a 28 to 30 year period, we averaged 88 closed sales a year. And now it wasn't just me, it was Angie, and we had 4 full-time assistants. So one Chris, which was licensed, and Jen is her daughter, which does our coordinating now, and she still does some 40 plus years later. So this is our database, and I broke it down. And this is how you can kind of look at how much money you're going to make. I could sit down with you guys and literally look at your database and say, let's rate how strong these people in your database are. And I could show you how many sales you'll probably have on a typical year. So if I had 100 almost worthless contacts, which I had 100 worthless contacts, those were people that they didn't even get my monthly email and things like we didn't have email, so I would send out calendars. Send out a monthly newsletter. But I only did 200 of those, okay? So I'd have like 100 additional people that were pretty much worthless, but I kept them there, okay? And so how much would they get? They would get, out of those, I'd get like probably one sale a year, very little, one sale a year. out of an average 100 average contacts, these would be people that would use me again if and they probably know me, they'd use me, but they weren't referral people. And you're going to find out that some clients are amazing at referring and they're fantastic at it, and other people, they would use you, but they just don't refer. They're not people like that. They're not contact people. So, and that's a very big distinction. When you find people that are connectors, they usually do really well in the business. They usually do really well in the business. When Claire came on, she came on in early May. We went out to lunch with our two interns the first day or one of the first time Claire met them. We go out and they're going to do something. They're going to do some photo shoots. I was going to have lunch with everyone. I was going to take off and do a photo shoot. On the way, Claire asked them, "So, what do you guys want to do in the future?" And so Leah says, "Well, I'm not sure if I want to go to business or what I want to do, but I want to go to USC." And she goes, "Great, I've got somebody who's on the USC advisory board. I'd like to connect you with them." They later did a Zoom call and talked for over an hour, and now she has a good contact to USC. Then she asked Angelina, "What do you want to do?" She goes, "I want to be an endodontist someday." She goes, "I know an endodontist. I'll set you up with an endodontist, and you can literally go shadow them for a day." They set it up, and now she has shadowed the endodontist for a day. She's a connector. She connects. A lot of people don't ever think of connecting people. I've always been a connector of people. And when I get to know people, a lot of the people I get to know, I refer to other people, and my friends know my friends. A lot of my friends that are close friends with other of my friends were because I introduced them. I'm a connector of people. That's one of the number one things as far as an attributes for top salespeople. They're a connector of people. So if I have 100 average clients, they're going to give me 12 sales a year, and usually it'll just be through them or if somebody asks them to refer. They don't think of referring without being asked, okay? Then you have 100 great, if you have 100 great clients, that would be ambassadors for you. That gives you 100 sales a year. That means every ambassador clients you have is good for 1 closed sales per year. On average, sometimes 2, 3, or 4, and maybe, sometimes they wouldn't give you 1 that year, but the next year. So when you have those clients and when you can describe what they are, you can now break down your own algorithms, how much you're going to sell. So here's what our database was. And I took one of my average years here. 250 almost worthless, I get 2 sales from them. 100 average, mostly geo farm. They'd be the people mostly in my geographic farm. I got 12 sales out of it. That's how many listings we had that year. 150 good, that'd be geo and social, had 37 sales. But from my what I call my Hall of Fame clients, I'll explain more of that later, 37 sales. I get 1 per year. So tell me, what's the most important person to have?
Great.
A Hall of Fame. And you want to, and here's the thing, you're going to start off in the business, or when we have a couple of new people here, with your people that are not going to be Hall of Fame clients probably, unless they're really close family members and they're referring you in spite of the fact that you don't know as much as most agents do. Okay, although we train pretty quick here. So, so when you look at this, you can take this down and look at it and start saying, in fact, I'm going to pass this out for you guys. If you want to pass it out, take this and kind of do your own review on this and say, how many of these clients do I have? And now if you're new and you say, well, gee, based on this, I'm going to have 3 sales per year, then you better create some daily business because you're not going to have that much from your database. But eventually your database is going to become all you need. Angie and I work no daily business. I can count the open houses I did my entire life on 1 hand. I didn't take sign calls. I didn't take ad calls. Unless it was somebody that did business with me in the past or they referred me, I didn't do it. And if they weren't in South Orange County, I didn't do them. So my geographic area became very small. Early in my career, I did everything in Orange County. And then later, all I did was South Orange County. And I would refer out other business. So, okay, so moving on. So let's talk about the database. It's the organizational foundation of your business, and that's what's so important about it. It's past and current clients. You have none of those until you start selling. Prospective buyers and sellers, people you're working with right now, friends, family, neighbors, community contacts. What you have to do is you have to think about this. Like, let's say, for instance, Joy plays pickleball, okay? And she plays pickleball with a lot of people. When she goes down to pickleball, if she goes down to pickleball and plays pickleball and leaves and never talks about her real estate and never does anything to any of those people, guess how many sales she gets from pickleball? 1 out of 100 people might refer. You'll be lucky to ever get a sale. But what if she works that? What if she brings stuff for them and puts donuts out and puts her card there and lets people know that they're in the business? And all the people she gets to know, they're now on her pop buy list, okay? All of a sudden, those people become their clients. I see people literally getting involved in organizations, not to just because it's something they have a passion for, but while they're there, I might as well make this thing work, right? And so that's what they do. So open house visitors and internet leads can come on there. Your social media contacts are certainly there. And here's what I really want to talk about. Lenders, escrow, title, attorneys, CPAs, and vendors, okay? I expect business from all those people. If I do business with them, then I'm going to do enough business that all of them better do business with me. Tom was my lender. Tom gave me all his referrals. I could count on one referral every year from Tom, plus all his business and his family business. Same thing with like my title person. You know, now I don't really do business right now, but guess who, you know, Lisa referred the last agent she had to? Amy, to us. Not, we call young Amy or old Amy or new Amy, whatever Amy it is. And she takes her test in a month from now. So they referred to us. I expect the people I use for these services to use me. If not, I will get somebody else who's really good at what they do who will refer to me, okay? And all my escrow people, they referred business to me. I didn't really have attorneys. We had an office attorney. My CPA referred business to me, had 3 or 4 sales from my CPA over the years. So again, and then anyone else who can do business with you, refer your business. That's your database. It becomes big. Starts off, what's it start off as? Short and weak, becomes long and strong, okay? So every contact you represent has 3 opportunities. Business today, business tomorrow, or referral business. And you gotta look at that. Now think beyond the next transaction. Think lifetime value. And this is the thing a lot of you have heard me say before. When we start working on, and we're gonna unravel our new, or just kind of bring forth our new seller and buyer consultation or strategy meetings, those whole presentations in the next 2 months. I've got one completely done, one I'm working on. And what's really great about that is that when we do those, that's our first meeting with people. And the reason it's so important to get that right is because when we present to somebody, a lot of people, usually when I ask agents, if you're presenting to somebody who's going to sell a $2 million home and you're going to get 2.5% on that, what do they represent? And they go, oh, they represent like $50,000 of commission. No, that you can't look at it that way. They represent that home, the home they might buy, the home they might sell in the future, and everyone they can refer. And then how about not only the people refer, all the people they refer, who they refer. It becomes astronomical. I wish that I had done a chart when I started the business, that I had started off with a tree, and this client did this, and this client did this, and this client did this. Literally, your business can explode from your first 50 sales into thousands of sales, literally thousands of sales from that, as long as those people, when you work with them, they have a special experience and they know you're very knowledgeable what you do. Okay, so again, business today, business tomorrow, referral business. It's beyond the next transaction. It's for everything they can do, and that's why I say when new agents come on and they're training on our, let's say their buyer strategy meeting. When they train on their buyer strategy meeting, what's really important is that they're good at it the first time. I consider this like you're the opening lead in a Broadway play for your first client. So you don't practice on them, you practice on me or Amy or your friends or your family, or just yourself and video it. And so that the first time you give that, you're really good at it. You're really good at it, okay? Because you don't want to practice on your client, because that isn't just one sale, it can be many. And by the way, doesn't every client you have deserve your best? Not just the ones that you work with in a year or 2 from now or 5 years from now, even your first one. Your first one might deserve it more than anybody, because guess what? They're going with you when you're not really as good as you're going to be. So that's why I want you to work really hard on being good at that, and most of you have. Okay, moving kind of on. So the biggest database mistake I see, collecting names and then doing nothing with them, okay? I mean, you can have the longest database in the world, and if you do nothing with it, it is worth 0. You could have a short database, work meticulously, and it could become very good for you and become eventually long and strong. You'll probably hear me say that a few times today. So your contacts plus consistency, communication, and that's going to equal your opportunities that you have. So the next thing is kind of a basic little slide I want to talk about. It's called, what information should you capture? Okay, so when I call this my FBI files, that's what I call it. So that when I put together a database, and when we're done with this, the filming part of this today, if you guys want me to share some of my databases with it, I'll be happy to show you hands-on training and kind of show you the notes I make in here. I call them my FBI files. So I have one at every one of you, okay, when I start, and I put simple things in like all your contact information, your birth date, okay, and different things like that. And then anything I know about you, your spouses, your kids, anything I know previously about, I put down. Now, because our team is like a family, I don't need to keep all these notes so meticulous because I've become to know you so well anyway. I just know you. I don't have to make notes. But here's what's very, very important about that. When you have a meeting with a client, and let's say, for instance, a client calls you in 2026, and that client says, I'm thinking of selling my home. What's my current value? And you said, well, would you like the meeting? He goes, no, I just want to know what the current value is. I'm just doing it for my annual financial statement. So I go, oh, great, let me put something together. I'll send you out comps. I'll do something for you. They don't want to meet. It's just for the financial statement. I send it out, but guess what? I record everything. So guess what? 2 years later when they call me and they say, okay, we're thinking of selling now, I've got all the notes from when we talked, exactly the date we talked, what the conversation was, the value that I gave, and what I sent them. So now I can get on the phone, and if they call me, the first thing I can say is, as they call me and say, we're thinking of selling, I pull it up and I go, yeah, I remember we talked a couple of years ago. I think it was like May of 2024, is that right? Yeah, good memory, yeah. And I remember that time, I think I told you your home was worth 2.1 or 2.2, somewhere in there. Yeah, it's exactly what you said, And it's like, wow, it's like you got this good memory. I might even know their dog's name. I mean, if their dog's name was Daisy, and I go, yeah, how's Daisy doing? I mean, you put everything down there. Now, if anyone ever asked me, do you take notes? How do you know all this stuff? I'd say, yeah. And what would they think? They'd say, listen, you're pretty darn organized, and you're good at what you do, and I'm important enough that you make detailed notes on me. I'm somebody that's important in your life, okay? So everything you can, name, cell phone, and email address. You can read the information on the slide here. How you met them and the date, that's always really good. I always put client pictures on there. You'll see on my phones, you'll also see on the files I have for my database, my contact, I've got everyone's picture. Now I know what you guys look like, but I don't care, the fact I know what you look like. When you call, I want to see the face when it comes up, when you guys call. Same thing with all my clients. And some of these clients, you might forget what they look like after a while, especially if you're not good at facial recognition. Angie is not good at facial recognition. I remember she first told me, this was really, great, that after I would date you, I'd have to go look at your picture, remember what you look like. I go, wow, that's good. And she goes, literally, I'm glad I had a picture of you, and she does not have good facial recognition. We'll see clients that come up to us at Costco or something, and they'll say something, and if I say their name or something like that, she'll remember exactly who they are and everything about them, but she will not facially recognize them. She has really poor facial recognition. I think I have average facial recognition, and most people do. So, but whether or not you have facial recognition, you probably do, but you want to put everything down. I love the picture. I like their spouse, their partner, occupation, interest, anything, maybe something interesting about them. And then certainly the important notes from conversations, and keep a running log on that. And I keep the most important or the most recent conversation on top, always start it with the date. The better the information, the more personal your follow-up can become, okay? And the more you're going to be prepared when they call you want to do something. Okay, so let's talk about categorizing your database. Now, you can do this a lot of different ways. You can do it, a lot of people have all these different data, they have A, B, C clients, the ones I got from pickleball, the ones I got from church, the ones family and friends and all that kind of stuff. That's okay. That's fine if you want to do that. Here's the way I did it. I'm going to share with you. I had one database called contacts. Everybody was in it. Every single person was in my database for a contact. Now I did have a separate list, okay, of what I called A clients, okay, and the A clients were what I called our 200 clients that would get pop buys every year. That was a separate list of just A clients, okay. But those A clients would also be in all my contacts. So I would have what would be considered my pop buy list, okay, 200 people, all my contacts, my pop-by list, and then later I would put them in A prospects or B prospects if they became a working client. That meant that they're in, they're either they're in the middle of a transaction and they're about to be in a transaction or start to looking, and so I'd put them in A or B prospects. Let's say, for instance, you have an open house, okay? Harley, you have an open house and you have a bunch of clients coming that day, and you get maybe 2 clients, one that you start talking to, you have an appointment with, and that client says, let's go out next week. You put them in your A prospect. That means I'm gonna move them over and put them in my working A prospect list. Okay, somebody else comes in and says, well, if you ever find something like this, give me a call. And so you're gonna put them in your B prospect list. They're not really exciting stuff like, but they're B. I still wanna reach out to them once a week maybe instead of maybe 3 times a week. Okay, I'm gonna still reach out to them a lot. I still want their name in front of me on a consistent basis, okay? So the next thing you do is you start building a communication system, okay? That means that what are you gonna do to this A list and B list? Now, there's a couple things you're gonna do to all of your contact list, okay? Let's say, for instance, you have 100 people on your, what is considered your database, that it's your client database list that you wanna keep for, that you're gonna work, your pop-by list. If you have 100 of those, you're gonna do a lot of things to them, but you're not gonna do as much to them as you're gonna do to, the ones that you're the prospects. But like, for instance, you need to build this communication system where you make phone calls, personal texts. I text a lot. I've texted probably 10 people today, different things. Okay, there's a couple people in here got texts today from me. So because I'm always thinking about things, just there are little touches that you make. Okay, emails, market updates, social media, direct mail, client events, neighborhood events. Just keep thinking. People should hear from you when they don't expect something from you. One of the things I like to do is when I go out, and I do this a lot with friends, but I would do it with you guys in the team, you'll see this sometimes too. I'll go out and there'll be something that I see that reminds me of something we did with a team or something like that. And I'll text it to them just to kind of make a touch. Or just touch it. Texts are gentle touches that can be very good, and they're very personal. So the whole thing is you want to, what I call, give people a reason to hear from you. So, that market information, the home updates, the interest rate or real estate changes, vendor recommendations, home improvement ideas, invitations, congratulations, simple check-ins. Be interested in them, not just interested in their real estate, interested in them. I mean, it's so important to be interested in other people. And one of the things I'm really big on, you guys know this, I have a list of names I keep with people. Everywhere I go, I can show you this list out. It's probably 200 names on there. It's the manager at the restaurant, the valet at the restaurant. I can tell you that Mark is the valet when I go to Captain Jack's, and I know that Ronnie is the manager. Now, I've got their names down there, but I memorized them over the year. I still have them down there. When I go to a restaurant that we frequent, I find out who the servers are. I put their name down, so next time I go there, I can remember their name. All the people I play pickleball with that I think might be somebody who comes back more than one, guess what? I put their name down, and when I put their name down, I'm going to try to remember them. Next time I come, I'm going to try to remember their name, okay? And so they call me at the pickleball courts. One guy calls me the ambassador. And you see that I know a lot of people pickleball. I don't play pickleball with any more people than most people do. I just remember people's names. As they're coming in and going out, I always say hello and goodbye. True or false, Joy?
Definitely true.
Definitely true. Because people want to hear their name, and they want to have positive input from you. So let's talk about kind of social media versus your database. Okay, so social media gets attention. Okay, by the way, I'm a big believer in social media. You've seen how much we've done in social media training. I had everyone's social media evaluated by our interns. We had all this. I'm putting a big emphasis on it because I think it's really big. It's really important. But it will not create business from people that don't know you. It will be a great way to keep people that know you on their mind, and what I call referral ready. Okay, referral ready. You're out there. They see it all the time. They see what you're doing. And what's the number one thing of a number one goal of a new agent on social media? The number one goal.
Consistency.
To make everybody that you have on your social media think you're busy doing real estate. I believe that if you want to have 2 social media accounts or 2 Instagram accounts, 2 Facebooks, if people still use that, but that's great. But you definitely wanna have a business one. I just think one is great, okay? But guess what? I think of your posts, I think at least 80% need to be business related and 20% personal. And I really think that. Now, I know some people don't like doing that, and you need to show them how busy you are. There's somebody in the team that's very, very busy, a really busy agent that I was talking to last week, and we were doing a review. And this person she was asking me, what can I do better? And I said, your social media is absolutely the highest quality content I see. She has a production company that does it with her, okay? I said, everything you do is awesome, but what you don't do, I know you're really busy right now. You've closed 2 transactions just recently. You've got about 5 you're working on right now, but nobody knows that. Nobody knows that. Because you're doing these quality things about when you're educational videos for real estate and how I work, even some fun ones, but they don't know you're busy. They don't know you're busy. I love like when Nancy does something, when Nancy writes an offer, she'll probably say, offer ready to send, takes a picture of it and sends it out. And then Ruth does this thing, offer accepted, okay, on to escrow. Yesterday was your inspection day, things like that. You need to let them know that you're busy, and there's several points to a transaction. When you show property, you can show the property when you're showing it. When you come back and you write an offer, you write the offer accepted, on to escrow, all these things. So each transaction feels to somebody like you're doing a lot. Because guess what people want? They want experienced agents, people that are doing things, okay? So that's very, very important. So social media is gonna get you attention, okay? It's not gonna get you business, okay? It's not gonna get you business, but it's gonna keep you on their mind, with one exception, and there might be others, but one I can think of, and that's if you wanna go and start developing a TikTok account. Now, I generally would suggest you not go to TikTok and start referring or start building a TikTok, because it literally can be hours and hours every day of your time or several hours a week. But there are people that have done that well, but like the people let me give you an example. There's a place in Florida which is known as, what's the big place that everyone retires to? The Village in Florida. It's like 70,000 people. I'm making that up, but it's like that. It could be 40 or 80, but it's a lot of people. There's a gal that does social medias on that. What's good about it? What's wrong about it? What are some things that people think about it that aren't true, and things that are true, and how can you get in, and here's about it, and what's the different things, and she does videos like every week, and her subscribers are massive. It's like hundreds of thousands. And guess what? She does a really good business from just people in other parts of the United States going on to look at the video, and she'll obviously in all of her videos, she puts an action step at the very end, which is a call to action, which is give me a call, I'd love to talk to you, and just share about it personally. And I think that's all she does, is probably work the people that she sells there, and has a database of those people, and she does that on her TikTok. But unless you can be that special within a TikTok, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do that. So again, for the most part, I'm not a TikTok fan. I watch TikTok all the time when I have downtime. But if I'm at a car wash and waiting for my car and nothing else to do, I'm all caught up in messages, I might look at it. But I don't believe it's the best way to create business for most people, okay? So one of the best things you can do in social media is what? Can you think of it? You probably won't think of it. Is comment on their stuff. I mean, when anyone comments on my stuff, it makes me feel good. So I'll go in, and I was looking at, I don't really post her up, but Angie does. So I was looking at some of Angie's posts. I looked at a post that she did yesterday, and she had 160 views of something she did for Bible study yesterday. When she wanted, because it was what she did, it was a story. In stories, you can see who even looked at it, right? Which you can't on a reel. But on a story, you can see how many people looked at it. So she goes 160, and guess how many did a heart or a thumbs up or a comment? Like 30. Like, I'm going to tell you, every single person in my database that does a story or a post, they're going to get something from me. Ideally, a comment if you can add something good to it, but at least a heart. Is there anyone here that makes a post? I mean, rarely do you make a post that doesn't get a heart from me or a comment, right? Mm-hmm. And the reason I do that is because you're my clients, right? I mean, I hope every one of you think I'm your favorite, okay? Because you get the stuff on that all the time. okay? About the only time I don't usually heart, if you guys do something political, I probably don't put a heart on it, because I don't wanna encourage you to do anything political, okay? That's about the only time I don't. Or occasionally I might miss it. Maybe I miss something one day. You know, as you know, a story lasts 24 hours, and so if I missed it, I missed it. I'm sorry, shame on me. But again, do that to your clients, because they will notice that. Wouldn't you say that most of you here, let me ask from a show of hands, how many people will at least occasionally, if not often, look and see how many people would comment or put a heart on their things?
Yeah.
Okay, and how many people sometimes when you do a story will want to see who just viewed it, right? So you want to see that. So I think people are into social media more than we admit at times, and so let's just use it to the best of our ability, okay? Okay, so let me give you what I think is a solid database plan, okay? And we're getting to the end here. A solid database plan is 4 pop buys per year. Pop buys that you are not embarrassed to, pop buys that you're not embarrassed to pass out. And I can give you plenty of those, okay, to do. But pop buys you're not embarrassed to hand out. And then I can say, a lot of times I'll say, if you've done this for 2 or 3 years, you can probably go back to 3 pop buys per year. But for the first couple of years at least, make sure you do 4. Pop buys are simple, okay? You just go out, give them something nice, and when out there, they're usually not, okay? You just take a picture of it and send a message, hey, stop by to say hello. Sorry I missed you. I hope you liked the little gift I left for you. Hope to catch up soon. Whatever it is. And a lot of times what I would do is I would put together a set message I have for everyone. So that every time you go, if you're doing 100 of these, I don't have to write 100 different text messages. Now, change your message every time. Don't make it the same message every time. Or if that person hasn't seen you in 3 months and the last message is the exact same text that you came by on. So change it up a little bit, okay? And then I like to do coffee, which I call catch up, okay? Or lunches or dinner, what I call the Hall of Fame. If you guys saw on our list there, on that list I gave you, we had 36 Hall of Fame people. Of those 36 Hall of Fame people, each one of those people got a lunch or dinner with me or Angie and myself. If they were more of a couple, we would take them out to dinner or lunch, usually dinner, because these are people giving us at least a referral a year, right? So we take them out to usually dinner. But then sometimes it would be like I just knew him, so I'd take him out to lunch. If I just knew the guy pretty well, I wasn't that close to the gal or something, or sometimes it can just be a guy client, right? I would go out. If it were usually a gal client, then usually Angie and I would take her out to lunch in most cases. So, or coffee. And then post on your databases, on your social media daily. Get up, and I like to do it in the morning, but just post every morning and do it. Have a weekly email or real estate on auto send. For those of you who use Van for your, I know Amy does, I know a couple other people do too, that every Tuesday, because it was today, every Tuesday you actually get an email article that he has a professional person writing that will go out about real estate. And it's that constant reminder you have to do nothing about. You put the list in, it automatically goes out, and the only thing you remember why you did it is because you're on your own list and you get it too, and you see what's being sent to everybody else, okay? Have a weekly email, the auto send, very important. And then text, it's supposed to be text, not test. Random things, just think of that. One of the things I love to do, and I've done this to a few people here, I did it to somebody the other day, and I got a good response out of it. It's I like to send a $1 Venmo, okay? A $1 Venmo with a message like something like, this money will not change your life, but I bet it brought a smile, okay? Just something like that. Those are fun things. Just things for $100, 100 touches you can make. And guess what? Those people are talking about that, right? They're going to be talking about that because my realtor sent me, or my friend sent me $1 Venmo with the following message. How great is that? Now, do you think that's worth $1?
Yeah.
I mean, I would be sending out a lot of those. I usually do that with people just to have fun, but probably every month I've got $3 or $4 Venmos I sent to people. And I mix up the message. That's a message that I've probably sent a few times. But again, just fun things. Have fun with it, okay? Okay, so here's the final thing I want to close by saying. The best lead is often not the person you haven't met yet. It's the person you already know but haven't stayed in touch with. So staying in touch is everything. If you haven't done it for a while, just make the commitment to start doing it, okay? And honestly, the database is the most important part of your business. And if you can do that, then you're gonna be surprised how you can explode your business. Not that I did. So, questions?